Then the physical abuse began. He tied down my hands and placed ice on them while showing me erotic pictures of men. He wrapped my hands in hot coils, stuck needles in my fingers, and shocked me with electricity. Through all of this, I remained gay, but became suicidal.
This was the first experience that I had with Sam. I was in the same conversion therapy group that Sam went viral from that video. That is what originally drew me to Sam. In fact, I was just trying to leave conversion therapy. I wanted to say something about the people that abused me in conversion therapy, and I wanted people to understand why I'm speaking out against it. Sam did something so shady to all of us survivors, and it's time for me to be honest about it. I want to share the full scope of how I knew about Sam, Sam's story, and how that I knew that Sam was lying. Please do me a favor and give this video a like. Help it boost the algorithm. I am so hurt by Sam and the Trevor Project, words can't even describe. And if you're a part of the queer community, I think you're going to want to stick around and hear what I have to say in this video about Sam, because I believe that Sam set back all of our rights because Sam was made into a laughingstock. This was my life before I spoke out. So I just got sexually assaulted by my roommate and I had to do an emergency leave. I had my ex help me move across town. A month later, somebody from It Gets Better Canada had heard my story and reached out to me to do the premiere of Boy Erased, where I did my first CBC interview. During that time, and I just saw this video a week ago of Sam at the red carpet of Boy Erased. Please take a look at this.
So I'm a survivor of conversion therapy, this horrible, dangerous, discredited idea that you can change someone's sexual orientation and gender identity. And I now lead the world's largest campaign working to end conversion therapy called the 50 Bills, 50 States campaign at the Trevor Project. So it's this really amazing opportunity to kind of see the stories of survivors like myself on the big screen and know that we're not alone anymore, that there's a lot of people who are out there making sure that we are represented. It's a really great moment.
There's no validity in those claims, Rachel34 said. First of all, the claims of conversion therapy never happened, nor did my parents abuse my brother or I. My parents and I always known the truth, but we do not preach to people what the truth is. So Sam Brinton's parents are conservative. It's disheartening because my parents are still being slandered for the past decade because someone believed Samuel's words. I've never signed Sam, I'm not going to misgender Sam. I've never signed Sam up to have any conversion therapy, and that's pretty much the only thing that I could give on that because Sam needs to tell their own story. Peggy Jo said to the New York Post. As far as the claims that her husband put Sam in an emergency room 7 times, Peggy Jo said, we did not abuse him. We did not abuse Sam. If Sam had been in the emergency room at any time, there would be records, and there are none. The police department in Perry, Iowa, where Sam grew up with her family, said their records go back to 1994, and there is nothing related to the child, elderly abuse, or domestic dispute at the family residence or related to any of the family. They said the only thing that they had to report of Sam was related to a 2004 car accident. So essentially, Sam Brinton lied about Sam's story. Again, take a look at this report because this is the reason why that Sam went viral.
New shocking accusations from a fashion designer in Houston, now claiming these well-documented and photographed clothes of former Department of Energy official Sam Brinton are actually hers from a suitcase, reported missing from an airport 5 years ago.
When I just Googled him, I saw my outfits on him.
When I began, Sam was very much spaces that other competent conversion therapy survivors could have been in. Sam, from the very beginning, was appropriating a culture and an experience that Sam never experienced. Which brings me to how I knew that Sam's story was fake. When I was in conversion therapy, I had access to conversion therapists. We would all be in a private Facebook group and we would all be messaging each other. I knew a lot of these people by name for being in those spaces. One of the videos that I seen was from an active conversion therapist, David Pickup. He posted this.
Sam claims he was in his torture therapy for years.
I mean, I was in therapy for like 2 or 3 years. It was the worst 2 or 3 years of my life.
Yet when asked to provide the name of his therapist so that the therapist could be exposed and lose his license, Sam claims he can't remember. "I don't have his name," he says. "I can picture him in my nightmares, but his name is not there." Strange, since he can seem to remember all the other torturous details. Sam claims that it was a doctor who treated him.
When I was a kid, I was subjected to a combination of talk therapy and horrifying physical aversive conditioning techniques by a doctor who told my parents that he could turn me straight.
But in a previous interview, he originally admitted it was never a doctor who treated him. It was actually a religious therapist, and not a doctor. It's very important that the donors who fund Sam and the National Center for Lesbian Rights do not discover this, because the legislation they promote and solicit money for affects licensed mental health professionals, meaning it would do nothing to prevent the torture experience Sam claims he went through.
I was also having private conversations with other conversion therapy survivors and found the website that he designed at this time, which was sambrintonhoax.com. I spoke with many survivors about it with Troy Stevenson, one of the Trevor Project's legal representatives. Now, for the record, I liked Troy. Past tense. I was introduced to Troy because Sam never wanted to talk to me to begin with. Instead, I got Troy, and then Troy came to Canada to a CBRC meeting in Vancouver. I quickly realized Troy knew nothing about conversion therapy survivors or this space. Then, after I went home, I was advancing my advocacy to the point where I successfully banned conversion therapy in Canada, which doesn't really mean a lot to me right now because there wasn't any justice for the people experience the same thing that I did, but we can also leave that to another day as well. I didn't have access to Sam because Sam was afraid to speak with me for some reason. After Sam went viral, and these documentary people forced me to sign a non-disparagement clause for me to be a part of the documentary. I felt unwanted and depleted. I described that in the previous video if you want to watch it. Feeling alone is a severe understatement, and all because those people protected someone who was lying about their story to begin with. It was not my favorite moment and probably one of the most horrible experiences of privilege that I've ever experienced in my entire life. Now I'm going to show you why I feel Sam Brinton should not have been paid $178,000 a year for what Sam spoke about and how incoherent Sam is at speaking in front of camera. First off, the entire fighting conversion therapy movement turned into fashion. There is nothing fashionable about being a conversion therapy survivor. Fighting this or understanding how dark and twisted conversion therapy could get. In fact, it is very sexual in nature in my opinion, and it's predatorial. Conversion therapy very much took a toll out of my life and changed it forever. Speaking out was something I felt like I had to do to get justice from the person who stalked me and my family when I was in conversion therapy. So I want you to grasp what you're about to witness with Sam. Sam said some of the most horrible things while Sam was admittedly lying on stage. Please take a look at this.
Today, I get to advocate for LGBTQ youth. It's kind of the greatest job in the world because no one wants to advocate against you. You can really hate marriage equality, but you're not gonna be like, oh, let the gays die. No, it's not really like, there's very few of those and they're very rare. All of this is to say is that I find that what we just heard about genuine authenticity comes in many, many forms.
In the same presentation, Sam said this during their official role with the Trevor Project.
I've been raised across the globe. If you've ever heard of apartheid in South Africa, if you've ever heard of in Bolivia, South America, where I lived, I watched taxi drivers be shot when they would rebel against the government. So I thought, of course the government's going to kill a group of people that I've never met. I was told the other problem, that the reason the government came through and killed us all off was because we had brought AIDS into America. Now, again, a horrible trope that did remove an entire generation of my mentors, but to be very clear, was not caused by my mentors. And, well, my mentors that never came. This is the lies that I was understanding because they were using information that I already did understand. I told you I lived in South Africa. I lived in an AIDS orphanage. I just never had seen a white person with AIDS.
When Sam went viral, I had Troy Stevenson yell at me over the phone for hours. I yelled too. I'm passionate. I'm passionate of what I do. Sue me. My theory is, after the conversations that I had with Troy, I believe they knew Sam was lying about Sam's story and they didn't want to do anything about it. The reported $87 million in revenue that the Trevor Project is sitting on right now would and should go to survivors, go to lawsuits, go to advance help with us, like if we need help with education, with getting a place, with therapy, because it seems like the Trevor Project uses us a lot. And now finally, where all of our rights that are being rolled back because of Sam, because where do you think Donald Trump got this slogan from?
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Sam.
It's hard to believe, but it's true.
So if you're watching this, Sam, know you single-handedly made us conversion therapy survivors a joke. You're responsible for right-wing pundits making conversion therapy survivors a joke. And you put everyone in that documentary at risk because you chose to prioritize fashion over the lives of the people that were in that documentary. Sam, you are a horrible person. When you do go public, I hope you address everything that I had to say in this video. You have a lot to answer for. You owe us conversion therapy survivors a huge apology, including Garrett Conley, especially since you wore that dress at the Boy Erased red carpet. I barely scratched the surface on how angry I am with you and the Trevor Project, but trust me, I'm just getting started. Thank you, Sam, for making us all look like a joke.